Here.
Kearney.
Here.
Hines.
Here.
Florima.
Here.
Fairchild.
Here.
Corcoran.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Paulson. I see we have one of our members absent. Do I have a motion to excuse our member this evening by Mrs. Kearney, seconded by Mr. Kroll? Roll call on the motion to excuse Mrs. Patrick this evening.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florima.
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And we have excused Mrs. Patrick from not being here this evening. If everybody would, please stand at this time for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The minutes to the previous meeting have been distributed for review. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes as you receive them? Mr. Kroll, seconded by Mr. Florima. Roll call on the motion to accept the minutes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florima.
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And we have accepted the minutes from the previous meeting. Moving on, we have reports from our committees. Ms. Fairchild?
President Arnold, I would like to make a motion that we convene an executive session to discuss the collective bargaining contract and also personnel matters.
That's fine. I have a motion for we go into executive session. Seconded by Mr. Hines. Roll call on the motion to move into executive session.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florima.
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
We are moving into executive session. I'll turn the sound down. We will be back here shortly.
Subsequently.
Thanks, sir.
So curious what you're doing
Is the bargaining coming up soon, or have you started it?
Well, it seems to me that contracts expire. This may be the final year of the contract. It must be.
I saw something in the newsroom about that.
Why you would get your regular agenda out of the way first and then the executive session at the end unless you're gonna take some sort of action on it. Usually that's, I put this at the end of the meeting. That's their all. It's just a TV in the back room, they're going to watch hockey. Entirely possible, Steve Mullins, this is my third back-to-back-to-back meeting tonight, and that's what Steve Mullins was doing over at the school board, is like, we gotta get out of here by 7:30, because that's when the puck drops. Yeah, this is a little unusual, usually they do their executive sessions at the end of the meeting.
I was gonna say, I thought that was slightly irregular.
Yeah, and that's why I was looking at the agenda, trying to figure out if there's something on there that they needed to go in first, and I don't see it. Unless there's an item they're planning on adding to the agenda that they haven't yet.
What did they excuse it as? It was
It was
personnel and
collective bargaining and personnel.
Interesting.
Now, collective bargaining probably wouldn't be something they'd add on to the agenda unless personnel, I suppose, could be if it's a specific personnel item that they would need to take some sort of action on tonight. Wasn't she supposed to turn on some on hold music or something?
And
It's like deathly quiet in here.
most of my music, blues like Government Mule. My son turned me on to that good music. I play, you got your smartphone, I play Freecell all the time.
Yeah.
One for you. One for you. One for you. One for you.
You ain't got it?
I done that, bud.
That boy.
One for you. One for, yeah, that's two. One for you. Your original. One for you. And seal.
Hey, were you pulling
Okay.
mulch Saturday?
Yes,
I saw you
that's my new little training.
rolling down.
See you under dust, John.
Rolling down Vine, going to the smart.
So the only problem is it cannot
John,
pull up, unload it, unhook it, and off.
That's all you need. Yes. That's like the perfect size.
The goat pulls taller.
Oh yeah, you gotta hold the goats.
That way, he's got one that's got.
We don't get our rabbits till June, so
sounds good.
I gotta make a call in for my order this week.
Hey, I'll shut the door if you guys want, don't have cold air on your back. Sorry.
Call good old Terry.
All right, here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back out of executive session. Do I have a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
Ms. Fairchild, seconded by Ms. Neal. Roll call to come out of executive session.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Florina. Yes. Fairchild,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
We are now out of executive session. This time, we move on to reports from our committees. Who'd like to go first?
Oh, come on.
Mr. Hines? He beat you by a second.
Yeah.
Thanks, President Arnold. City Service Committee has one item on the agenda tonight. It's the second reading, item number 2, for the 5 annual installments of $30,000 totaling to $151,124 for the city's share of costs for upcoming improvements to the law enforcement center. I believe it'll go 3 reads.
And there's nothing else from city services, except for I would like to say I'm grateful that we have some place to take yard waste, thanks to the administration for making something happen. Really appreciate that very much. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Hines. Next, Mr. Tatman.
Thank you, President Arnold. The engineering committee has two items on the agenda tonight. Number 3, second reading, and it's to permit 2 poles for Mobile Light LLC for the cellular service out on Bridge Street. Also, number 4, and this is the one that got a little exciting last meeting. It's the appropriation of $31,339.60 to cover brought forward monies that were excluded in the 2017 appropriations to the 2018 budget. And that more or less says it all. Now, my only question is, do we want to pass this tonight?
Yeah.
It sounds really good. Yeah. Okay. So at the proper time, I will be requesting that we waive the 3-read rule. Now, to address your email you sent out on assignments we have, that I noticed I had several blanks to the right on some of these. 17067, 17068. That has to do with sidewalks in the city and streetscape. On the streetscape, I'll get it right, issue, our committee met and we could not come to agreement on who the responsible party is, whether it be the city or downtown. So that has to go forward, and hopefully the administration and downtown people will address that. But we discussed this, and nobody wanted to say, okay, it's the downtown people that have to fix it, or the city has to fix it. We kind of said it's a mutual, and this happened back in the, what was the 80s, Bruce, when they did the streetscape?
Yep.
It was more of a shake hands, pat on the back. Nobody made any future maintenance agreements. So now we're stuck with who's going to repair streetscape or replace streetscape or whatever they want to do. Also, 17057 was the two-way street issue. The committee came to agreement that it would be okay to change it back 2nd Street to two-way, and we recommended that it go to the Finance Committee to see if the money was going to be available. So we have to have something sent to the Finance Committee to see if the money's going to be available to pay for changing 2nd Street to two-way. But the committee, and I thought I already addressed this, that the committee said that it would be agreeable to go back to two-way. 17059 was for the truck signs on East Main Street, where semi-trucks are having a problem realizing they can't turn down residential streets. And we've already got signs put up. I haven't heard any more complaints. I don't know if the truck do not enter signs are helping or not, but I haven't had any complaints. Mr. Carmen, you got any complaints on that?
We're still receiving a few complaints. The Ohio State Patrol was down working last week a day, and they requested some additional signage that would help with enforcement that I'm looking into.
Okay, so that 17059 addressed that. Of course, it asked for money to pay for the signings, but I never got a bill. So that's where we're at on that one. And 17139, Allen's Street speed, people speeding down Allen Avenue going both ways. That was the reason why we went with Mr. Carmen's suggestion on the digital speed readers. And that was his suggestion. I thought it was a good suggestion. We'll try those first in different areas, Allen and wherever else we have issues, and then we'll go forward and see if we do need any additional stop signs or other traffic controls like speed bumps, cruisers. That completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tatman. I appreciate that very much. Next, who's next? Ms. Fairchild?
The Human Resources Committee has one assignment, 18-040. that we would need to request be added to the agenda as item number 13.
I have a motion that you have added to the agenda.
Yes.
Okay. Number 13, and seconded by Mr. Florina. We need more of a description on what we're adding to the agenda, or just where it gets read.
Yes. It's a request for legislation to accept the tentative agreement between the City of Chillicothe and the Fraternal Order of Police.
Okay. A roll call on that motion.
Chapman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And that motion has been passed. That's added as number 13.
And at the appropriate time, I will ask that the 3-read rule be waived for that
Also the
item.
3-day receipt rule as
And
well.
the 3-day receipt rule as well.
Okay. All right, very good.
That's what we just passed. We just.
To waive the 3-day receipt rule
Yeah.
on the agenda?
That was
Okay.
the initial reference to the agenda.
Sorry, terminology. Okay.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Fairchild. Who wants to go next? Mr. Pearl.
Finance Committee has 5 items on tonight's agenda, starting with item number 4, which is first reading, and it is an ordinance to appropriate $31,339.60 to cover the brought forward monies that were excluded from the 2017 appropriations to the 2018 budget. Item number 9, and we should probably ask to waive the 3-read rule on item number 4 at the appropriate time.
Okay.
Item number 9, which is at first reading, and is ordinance to appropriate $3,435.46 to reimburse the Ohio Attorney General's Office for unused grant monies. That, as well, at the appropriate time, will ask to waive the 3-read rule. Item number 10, which is an ordinance at first reading to accept and appropriate $18,454.02 in grant funds received from the Ohio Attorney General as part of the DARE grant, so that we can have these monies available. I will ask at the appropriate time that we waive the 3-read rule. Item number 11, which is a first reading, is an ordinance to accept and appropriate $19,968 in grant funds received from the Ohio Attorney General as part of the diversion grant, and so that we can put these monies to use, I will ask at the appropriate time that we waive the 3-read rule. The final item is item 12, which is a first reading, which is a resolution to support the 2018 Chillicothe City Council Strategic Plan. And I want to say that I was really proud of all the council members for taking part in that process. It was great to get some conversation going on what our hopes are for the city and lay a framework for what we're going to do here as council members. So thank you all for your hard work on that, and I will allow that to go ahead and go to 3 reads. That concludes my report. Oh wait, there's, as finance chair, that concludes my report. But I am filling in for Pat Patrick tonight. Pat was not feeling well, and she asked me to please talk about item number 8 for her as part of the Utilities Committee. And that is a ordinance at first reading, and it is to appropriate $13,000 for the purchase of a computer server within the Transit Department. As you know, we had some issues with the computers in transit, and I am going to defer to the mayor, who has some speakers here to speak to this problem.
Thank you, Councilman Kroll. We do have Transit Director Shingle here tonight, and she, first I'd like to thank Councilman Patrick for getting an emergency meeting put together last Thursday, and the Law Director's Office for preparing legislation awfully quick. It's a fairly dire matter, but I've asked Director Shingle to be here tonight to perhaps answer any questions, or even if Mr. Kroll, you think it's appropriate, just give a quick summary of what the appropriation will cover, since it is a new topic, and I would request consideration of waiver of the 3-read rule tonight.
I would agree with that.
Okay. John, would you mind? Just briefly.
Good evening, everyone. So about 3 weeks ago, our server was hacked and we were by ransomware, so we were held, it was for Bitcoin, they were asking for Bitcoin. In the process, they had all of our files that were being held, and it basically put my administrative staff and myself at a standstill. Our operations were still able to continue because our system that runs our operations and the scheduling of the buses and everything is on the cloud, so that wasn't affected. But from an administrative standpoint, all of our computers were locked up, we couldn't do anything. We were able to recover our files because we did have them backed up. It took about a week and a half to get that done. So now we've gotten 3 quotes. We need a new server to replace that. Our server is about 5 years old, and I'm being told that that's the basic lifespan of a server. So we need to replace the server and put some things in place to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions to go along with that? Some of you were at the meeting. This will cover a new server, and also, one of the things that we discussed at that meeting was the need to look at possibly developing a technology department within the city so that we could improve our policies and things like that as we move forward, because it becomes more and more dangerous every day to work with technology in the government because of people trying to hack in or do damage to our systems. So that might be something that we can look at in the future. I will ask that at the appropriate time for this item, which is for the server repair, that we waive the 3-read rule so that this project can get underway and paid for. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Who else has any reports on their pending assignments? Anybody? Or any current assignments? Yes, Ms. Corcoran.
Yes, the Parks and Recreation Department has 3 items. The first one being number 5, authorizing the City of Chillicothe to accept donations for the city's annual 4th of July fireworks display. And I'll let that go for 3 reads so people can be reminded that we would be happy to accept any donations for our fireworks display this year. Item number 6, accept and appropriate grant funds in the amount of $500 for the purchase of safety signage in the Parks and Recreation Department. And at the appropriate time, I'll ask to waive the 3-read rule. And item number 7, appropriate funds in the amount of $20,000 for the Mary Lou Patton Park project and allow for the acceptance of donations towards the project. They are currently working on part of that project down at the Mary Lou Patton Park, which people probably have seen, but due to some drainage issues, they're backed up a little bit, but we are still moving forward. So at the appropriate time, so they can complete that project, since the season has already started, I will ask to waive the 3-read rule.
Thank you, Ms. Corcoran.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Would you like to comment? Ms. Kearney?
Certainly, I would like to talk about the yard sale. This is our last opportunity before June, and I would like to make the community aware of the citywide community yard sale. It is an exciting time for us to get together from neighbor to neighbor and from block to block. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope everyone else is. I hear that a lot of people have already started cleaning out closets and underneath everything that they have. So I'm hoping that we have a great 2 or 3 days. To be more specific about the community yard sale, so that it can get in the paper again. I did see it in the paper, and we appreciate the Gazette putting it in there. This will take place on June the 1st, 2018 through June the 3rd. So those dates are June the 1st through June the 3rd. And you do not have to get, the main thing is you do not have to go down, stand in line, and get a permit. So if you want to get some yard sales kind of signs, I think you can go to the auditor's office and they will be able to give that to you, but you do not have to pay for it. So please get involved in the community with this event, which was started a year ago by our mayor. It was one of his ideas, and I think it went off quite well last year.
Very good, thank you. Something I may add to that, you don't have to go down and get a permit.
Okay.
However, if I'm right by what the auditor said, if you do go in to notify that you are having the yard sale, they're going to put a list together?
Yep,
Is that correct?
That's on my report on.
Okay, all right, I'll let you report on that then. I'll defer from going any further, I'm sorry. Okay, any other committee reports? Yes, Mr. Florina.
Thank you, President Arnold. Safety Services does not have an item on the agenda for the evening, but we could touch on a couple of items. Item 1773 involving the parking tickets, and 17153 were both discussed at Safety Service meeting on the 16th. For 17073, we're looking into models of local municipalities to come up with a new ticket that will be more explanatory and providing a mechanism for appeal, which is still yet to be determined, so we are still working on that. And also, 17153 was a request by the municipal court for an increase of headcount for parole officers. We had a good discussion with both judges and their staff, trying to explore ways. We'll continue to see if we can have some models built as far as pricing is concerned, and see what the best, if possible, way to increase, a possible way to increase headcount, possibly if it does bear out. So those two items, and then touching on a new assignment, which is 18039, which is request for legislation to approve and appropriate financing for police and fire vehicles in conjunction of a $50,000 already appropriated in the 2018 budget. This is merely a formality. This was passed in the budget, and it will be brought forward because it was something that was privately approved. The next, who's brought forward?
What number was that?
That was 18039. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Florina. Anybody else have anything to report? Not seeing so, we'll move on to the mayor. I apologize, I can't pan over to you. So I have,
I'm really here.
if you lean over like that, we can see the back of your head from the camera, but anyway, Mayor Feeney.
Thank you, President Arnold. My best side is that part that you got. Yeah. Just speaking on tonight's agenda items, I'd like to speak in support of those items that were recommended for passage, first read. If you haven't been down by Mary Lou Patton, the work that's in now looks really nice. The finished product is going to be great. And I want to point out that Council has already appropriated the starter money for that project. What hasn't been appropriated is the money that is being donated. We have at least $8,000 in commitments already, and so essentially part of the $20,000 is accepting and appropriating that donated money that's already been donated. So that's not all money that's coming out of the Parks and Rec Capital Fund. And we will continue to accept donations. In fact, we have a pledge, a two-part pledge, one $4,000 pledge for this year, and we'll receive the second installment next year. So we're still looking for support for that project, but it's going to be really nice when it's all said and done. So those are my comments on tonight's agenda. Also want to comment briefly on the agenda item for the server at Transit. And Councilman Kroll's right. I think that this problem illustrates the need for a comprehensive plan for IT and tech for the city. Council has appropriated starter funds for that project, and we are working on RFP, trying to decide between RFP and RFQ actually, to work forward so that we have a cohesive and comprehensive plan that works, because in this day and age, frankly, it's necessary, unfortunately. Moving on, just commenting on a few other things. I'd like to congratulate the organizers, the volunteers, and the runners who participated in the second Buck 50. This year there were 74 teams. That's over 700 runners alone that came to Ross County, 150 miles all over the county, filled up our hotels, but really just thanking everybody involved because it's such a big event for our community. I think it's Runner's World magazine has a article online today. I haven't had a chance to read it, but pretty well-respected Runner's magazine sort of covering that run. Chillicothe Gazette has covered it well. I actually had the chance to run this year, finished. Last year I drove, but this year I ran and finished. And really was just, despite the miles, a feel-good event. So I encourage anybody, city council or otherwise, who hasn't had the chance to be a part. Our fire department volunteered to man a station this year. And so it's just really a neat thing to be a part of, and I'm proud of everybody who played a part. As Councilman Hines mentioned, we do have a temporary yard waste drop-off site in place. That site is on Consumer Center Drive. Raise your hand if you know where that is. Wonderful. For those that don't, Consumer Center Drive is that weird little road that loops under Bridge Street that connects IHOP and, well, the Walmart side. The drop-off location is on the western side, which is the IHOP side. There's a fence that will be opened on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. until Rennick is available again. So that's Consumer Center Drive. I don't believe there's an address, but there is a road. It's on the IHOP side, Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Until further notice. And we will be making sure that it is cleaned up regularly, actually weekly, after every Saturday drop-off day. We'll be cleaning it all up by the following Monday, weather permitting. So it's not going to become an eyesore or anything like that, but we wanted to make sure that there's an option available to the citizens. We listened. I'd like to thank Safety and Service Director Carmen for coming up with the idea. And we'll see how it goes. And actually, I believe today equipment was delivered to the Rennick site, so that work will start hopefully post haste. The next topic, I don't know if I promised, but I came close to promising that I would let everybody know about yard waste pickup, which will be starting. Let me get the date right. Everybody get out your calendars, maybe a drum roll. The week of May 7th. Starting the week of May 7th. It's been several years since the city has provided yard waste pickup, and frankly, we're not sure what type of response we're going to get. Councilman Hines is trying not to laugh at me. We are going to start this year by doing yard waste pickup on demand. And so what we will do is have a phone number and email address, and we will be responsive to citizens' calls and emails, with the goal being to pick up yard waste within 48 hours of a call or an email. Depending on demand, we may shift to an every other week type of pickup route, that sort of thing. But we think that with our current staffing being what it is, this offers us the most flexibility this time of year to be able to get to mowing and other services that we like to be able to provide. But for now, we are starting with on-demand service. So we will be publishing a phone number and an email address and all the other relevant information that you need to know this week. One other item of interest and/or concern is questions I've been receiving recently from several of you and the public regarding the building that's referred to as the Canal Warehouse on Main Street. We are watching that building closely and working with the owners closely. The fire department, if they haven't already, is putting the red X's on that deem the building unsafe to enter by a fire department, and working with our chief building official, the building has been officially condemned. Now, I will publicly state that I don't have any interest or desire to tear that building down. I would love to see it saved. That said, we have a safety concern that will take priority over historical concerns, frankly. And so we are meeting, continuing to meet, and taking every precaution that we can to make sure that everything is done by the law correctly, while the safety of the citizens is foremost in our mind. We're working with the law director's office, the chief building official, the building department to make sure that we are responsive on that matter. We thank the citizens for their patience and concern. Finally, on a sad note, on April 17th, we lost our former city treasurer, Dave Neal. Dave passed away after a prolonged sickness and illness. For those of us that knew Dave, I was frankly amazed by his ability to stay positive through a really hard time. Dave had a great sense of humor and maintained it through all that he went through. I think there's no doubt that he is in a more peaceful and better place now. But we'll miss Dave. He's a heck of a good guy. And our thoughts and prayers are with his family. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Now for our auditor, Ms. Stutnagel. You're not on camera at all.
I just want to remind everyone that even though you do not have to have a yard sale permit fee, there will be no fee, that you can still stop by, email, or call the auditor's office to sign up to be added to a list of other participating people. And if you're on the list, you'll be included on a yard sale map, which last year we distributed at some stores, and we also put it online. So we do not give out like yard sale signs, but we will be passing out a map that will be available a couple days beforehand. And then I also want to announce that I will be doing a budget review on May 14th. And that concludes my report.
Is the budget review on the 14th
Is
prior
that
to the
council
meeting?
Yeah.
What time?
6:30.
6:30? 14th? Okay, thank you, Ms. Stutnagel. Law Director, Ms. Rutherford?
Well, I need to know first, am I on the camera off?
You're off the camera.
Then I got nothing to say.
You're fine.
I'm sorry, I have a report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just touch on a couple of things. First off, I'm really interested in this yard and waste pickup. I've got a leaf and grass pile that's about 30 feet long and 6 feet high. Will you come and pick that? I'm just joking, but I do have a pile like that. I got to apologize to our home audience with our camera situation. Our one camera that could pan and zoom. Actually, I've gone through 2 of them since we've got our video back on. The one that was originally in this room and the other one that I robbed from the other courtroom. They have become non-functioning. The equipment is so old that I'm trying my best to find somebody that can give me any kind of word as to what can be done or replacements. I'm having a hard time getting people to call me back. The other thing coming up with our video supplier, our broadcasting supplier, Time Warner, Spectrum, Charter, whatever it is, They have informed me that as of the 1st of May, they will go all digital, so analog signals will not be broadcast. However, I don't know what that means to us. I called the other provider, Horizon, to find out the difference and whether they were changing, and they said that they're already digital, and they have no problem taking our signal and broadcasting it because we have a direct feed. So Time Warner, Spectrum, Charter people, this may be the last broadcast that you might see unless I can get some more answers and figure out how we're going to do this. I would like to hear from people to see how much concern they have with and how many people watch. I do have a website, or not a website, I'm sorry, but a email that's through the city that if anybody would want to write to me and give me some response on watching from the home audience, I would appreciate it. It would give me some idea on how much people are watching this so we can figure out how we go in the future. The only other thing I've got to say is my son and family was back this last weekend, and while he and his wife were busy at a wedding, we took grandkids down to the park for a little while. I hadn't been down there for a long time. I was extremely impressed. I had no idea that there was that much playground equipment down there. I thought the place was clean and neat, and the whole park looked nice. There was a lot going on in the park with Earth Day, and also people that were down there with all the prom dresses, taking pictures on the bridge and everything. Very impressed with our park, and definitely it was getting a lot of use this last weekend. So again, another impressive part of our city, and it seems like we have nice facilities and services, and I think just my take on everything, I think everything's going really well. And that's all I have to say. Moving on to that, we'll take any comments from audience participation. There's only a few people in the audience. Does anybody would like to speak this evening? Not seeing anybody, we'll move on to old business. Does anybody have any old business they'd like to bring up? Not seeing any, we'll move on to petitions and correspondence received by the clerk.
Mr. President, I don't have anything to report on tonight. I do want to say that I did finally get the digital email sent out to everybody this weekend of the minutes and the agenda and the legislation and a lot of the older minutes that you had not gotten in the past. And I will try to continue to do that in the future. That's all I have. Thank you.
And I got that. Thank you. New business. Anybody have any new business they'd like to bring up? Yes, Ms. Corcoran.
Yes, 'tis the Parks and Rec season, so I have, bear with me, I have a few items I'd like to address. All good. I would just like to announce that the Arbor Day Foundation granted the City of Chillicothe the Tree City USA Foundation for the 23rd year in a row. And I would, my sincere appreciation to the City Council, Administration, Parks and Rec, Service Department, our distinguished members on the Tree Commission, and our Director, Bill Bonner. They do a fabulous job, and it shows. And also under trees, we will be planting 35 trees in the annex over the next 2 weeks. We've planted trees at Paint and Water and in front of the Health District, and I think some of the trees that we've planted in the last year, you're starting to see them really come along down on Water Street, in front of the old transit building, down Watt Street. The trees that they did have that they were giving away, that's closed. All those trees have been handed out, and they will also be still any ideas for anybody. Let your council member and your wards know if you have any idea for tree plantings in those areas. We also will be hosting Arbor Day, the Tree Commission, and the Parks and Rec Department this week. Friday will be held in the park, and students from Chillicothe schools and Bishop Flagey will be attending, and I'll be reporting on that at our next meeting. I'd like to thank everyone that participated this last weekend on Earth Day in the park and the river cleanup. That is always very helpful. I'd also like to let everyone know that the Chillicothe Restoration Foundation will be hosting a tour through Yaktangi Park. I participated in it last year. It was fun and very informative, and that'll be Sunday, May 6th from 1 to 5, and there's information on our website, or on our Facebook page for that, if anyone's interested. I'd also like to thank Little Blessings Incorporated, Corrine Woods and her dad, Hobie Woods. They placed the tubes in Enderlin Circle to safely dispose of tangled fish lines, broken lures, and hooks. That was very kind of them, and I'd like everybody to, if you see them, to thank them and to take note of those in the park. And we will also be meeting this week with the Parks and Rec Department. We are planning our programming events for this summer for children to have things to do, and we will be participating with some arts and hopefully some music and also athletics, but we will be coming out with a list, and you'll be seeing that on our Facebook page and wherever else. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, good information.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any new business they'd like to bring up? Moving on, we have committee assignments and meeting dates. We have had several assignments since our last meeting. Several of them are on actually tonight's agenda. I'll quickly try to go down through them. Request for legislation to accept and appropriate $31,339 and change received from 2 insurance claims. That's on tonight's agenda. Finance, request for legislation to appropriate $3,435.46 to reimburse the Ohio Attorney General's Office for unused grants. That's on tonight. Another finance, request to accept and appropriate $18,454 to go to police salaries from the Ohio Attorney General. That's part of the DARE grant. For finance, request for legislation to appropriate $19,968 from the Ohio Attorney General for a diversion grant. That's on tonight's agenda. Request for discussion and recommendation to lease city land to Camp Sherman to the Ohio National Guard. Request for legislation to replace a server in the Transit Department. That's on tonight. Request for legislation to approve and appropriate financing for police and fire vehicles in conjunction with $50,000 that has already been appropriated in the 2018 budget. Mr. Fleury touched on that earlier. Human Resources, request for legislation to accept the tentative agreement between the City of Chillicothe and the Fraternal Order of Police. That is going to be on tonight as well. And the final one that is hot off the press right before I came here is request for legislation to approve conducting a city of Chillicothe public auction of miscellaneous items and equipment, which will be on June the 16th, 2018. And there will be more information coming out about that, dates and items that will be up for sale, and the way you can bid on some of these items. And that will be June the 16th. Actually, some of the items will be online, and they will be available a few days prior to that date. And that's all I have. Moving on from there, we're ready for our legislation. So, Mr. Fawcett, whenever you're ready, item number 1.
Third reading of an ordinance supporting a community yard sale to be held the weekend of June 1, 2018 through June 3, 2018, and waiving the yard sale permit fee of $5 for that weekend. Third reading.
Roll call on that legislation.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And that ordinance has passed. Item number 2.
Second reading of an ordinance appropriating $30,224.80 for the first of 5 annual installments totaling $151,124 for the city's share of costs for upcoming improvements to the Law Enforcement Center. Second reading.
And that will move on to next meeting. Item number 3.
Second reading of an ordinance approving the Planning Commission's decision to permit Mobilite LLC to erect 2 utility poles with attached antennas on Bridge Street for the expansion of cellular service. Second reading.
And that'll move on to next meeting. Item number 4.
First reading of an ordinance appropriating $31,339.60 to cover brought forward monies that were excluded in the 2017 appropriations to the 2018 budget and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Kroll,
At this time, I'd like to request that we waive the 3-read rule.
I have a motion to waive the 3-read rule, seconded by Ms. Corcoran. Roll call on that motion.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
The motion is approved. Roll call on the legislation.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And that ordinance has passed. Item number 5.
First reading of an ordinance authorizing the city of Chillicothe to accept donations for the city's annual 4th of July fireworks display. First reading.
And that'll move to next meeting. Item number 6.
First reading of an ordinance accepting and appropriating grant funds in the amount of $500 and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Ms. Corcoran,
Yes, President Arnold, at this time I'd like to request to waive the 3-read rule.
I have a motion to waive the 3-read rule, seconded by Ms. Kearney. Roll call on that motion.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
The motion has passed. Roll call on the legislation.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And that ordinance has passed. Item number 7.
First reading of an ordinance appropriating funds in the amount of $20,000 for the Mary Lou Patton Park project and allowing for the acceptance of donations toward the project. First reading.
Ms. Corcoran,
Yes, President Arnold, at this time I would like to ask to waive the 3-read rule.
I have a motion to waive the 3-read rule, seconded by Mr. Kroll. Roll call on that motion.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
The motion has passed. Roll call on the legislation.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And that ordinance has passed. Item number 8.
First reading of an ordinance appropriating $13,000 for the purchase of a computer server within the transit department and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Kroll,
At this time, I would like to request that we please waive the 3-read rule.
I have a motion to waive the 3-read rule, seconded by Mr. Florina. Roll call on that motion.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Roll call on the legislation, please.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Number 9.
First reading of an ordinance appropriating $3,435.46 to reimburse the Ohio Attorney General's office for unused grant monies and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Kroll,
At this time, I would ask that we please waive the 3-read rule.
I have a motion to waive the 3-read rule, seconded by Mrs. Kearney? Roll call on that motion.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And that motion has passed. Roll call on the legislation.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Item number 10.
First reading of an ordinance accepting and appropriating $18,454.02 in grant funds received from the Ohio Attorney General and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Kroll?
At this time, I would ask that we please waive the three-read rule.
I motion to waive the three-read rule, seconded by Mr. Hines. Roll call on that motion.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Motion has passed. Roll call on the legislation.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Fairchild.
Yes.
Yes.
And that ordinance has passed. Item number 11.
First reading of an ordinance accepting and appropriating $19,968 in grant funds received from the Ohio Attorney General and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Kroll?
I would like to ask that we please waive the three-read rule.
A motion to waive the three-read rule, seconded by Mr. Hines. Roll call on that motion.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
That motion has passed. Roll call on the legislation.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And that ordinance has passed. Item number 12.
First reading of a resolution supporting the 2018 Chillicothe City Council Strategic Plan. First reading.
That will move on to next meeting. And item number 13.
First reading of an ordinance approving the tentative agreement between the City of Chillicothe and the Fraternal Order of Police, First Capital Lodge number 59, per served case number 2017 MED 080894, authorizing the appropriate city officials to execute the agreement and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Ms. Fairchild?
President Arnold, I'd like to request that we waive the three-read rule.
I have a motion to waive the three-read rule, seconded by Mr. Florina. Roll call on that motion.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And roll call on that ordinance.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And that ordinance has passed. And that concludes the legislation we have on the agenda this evening. Unless anybody has anything else they'd like to add, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting by Mr. Florina, seconded by Ms. Kearney? Roll call on the motion to adjourn.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
James?
Dr. Kearney. You want to adjourn?
I'm sorry. Yes, yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And we are adjourned, folks.